first thing you need to do is you need to go to aplusstudents.com. You need to go to the website. Once you're on the website, you select math as your subject. Once you have selected maths, you go to grade 8. This is a grade 8 math lesson, and the name of the topic is statistics. I'll give you the chapter number and the lesson number. The chapter number is 25 and the lesson number is 9. Chapter number 25 and the lesson number 9. And the name of the lesson is Identify Representative. Okay. The two representatives are random and biased samples. Okay, and the topic is probability. Okay, so let's see what is a, let's go to grade 8 maths, chapter 25, lesson number 9. If we need to compare biased with unbiased, right? Biased and unbiased. Let's see what is a biased. Okay, a population, we say a population is our sample space. Sample space means how many people are we using, how many values are we using to take out the probability. Okay, so for the bias, we can say that a biased sample does not represent the entire population. That means we handpick. Okay, from a selected group. That means from a selected group. That the question is not asked from everyone, it's just asked from selected people, right? Unbiased would be an unbiased sample for a survey. Survey is when you are asking questions, right? Should be a representation representative of the population. That means we are not choosing specific, randomly selected, right? They must be randomly selected. Okay, this is the difference between biased and unbiased. We saw what is a sample space. Okay, So random can also be called as unbiased. Let's keep it in a box. Okay, let's not. Okay, so let's look at an example. Let's look at some questions. The first question that we have, it says, to decide the dinner specials to offer, the question number 1 has this information with us. Let me realign this. A restaurant invited all of its to compete an online survey, and 17 of its customers did the survey. Is this a random sample? Let's see. This is our question number 1. We know difference between the biased and unbiased, right? Unbiased is also known as random. A biased sample does not represent the entire population, whereas a random sample represents the entire population. So we can say which dinner specials are offered. A restaurant invited all of its customers to complete an online survey about their food, and 17 of the customers did the survey. Right? So what we can say is, see, not everyone did this, right? So we can say, is this a random sample? Since the customers, the 17 customers who participated right are not the same as who did not participate, right? So they are doing 17 out of that, right? We can say it is not a random. Agreed? We'll do a few questions and we'll have a better idea, okay? Elise played 12 songs from each. Question number 2. Elise played 12 songs from each piano book. Sorry. In her music library. Is the sample of the songs? Is this sample of the songs in the music library representative? Okay. Let's look at what representative is. If this was our question number 2, what they're saying is Elise played 12 songs from each piano book in her music library, right? each piano book has an equal number of songs, right? That means, is this sample a representative? Yes, it is representative because each, right? They're saying each piano book has equal numbers, right? So what they are referring to as it, they are choosing from the entire group, right? That means since she chose from each piano book, she is choosing from each of the book, right? And she plays equal number of songs. That means this sample is a representative, right? Why? Because all of the options were selected and equal number of options were selected from each option. Okay. Moving ahead next. With the questions, we'll have more clarity. Okay. The first question says, the question number 3 says, Angie put the names of all her pets in a hat. Just a moment, please. Let me realign. Angie puts the name of all the pets at a pound in the hat. She drew 3 names out of the hat. Is this random sample or is this a biased sample? Random is unbiased, right? We know that a random sample, a random would be unbiased. We have this information, right, already. So Angie put the names of all the pets. She's writing down the name of all the pet into a hat. Then she picks up 3 names out of the hat. That means it is done randomly. Agreed? And whenever, and the question they're asking is this a random sample for the pets? Yes, since all pet names were used and she made random selection because she did not know which 3 names would be the outcomes, right? So it is a random selection. Agreed? Bias means it's favoring you. Okay, I'll give you an example which you can do at home as well, right? Let's suppose I'll explain you biased and unbiased. Unbiased is a coin. You pick up any coin at home, the coin will have either a heads or a tail, right? The coin can have a head or a tail. Agreed? So if you are flipping a coin, if you flip a coin, heads and tail, right? Both have an equal chance, right? See, when we do a toss, when we flip a coin, so it can be a head, it can be a tail, right? It's a 50-50 chance, right? 50% chance is, I'll write it down. 50% chance is you get a head, agreed? Or a 50% chance is you get a tail, agreed? That means your outcome, a head or a tail, is not affected by you. You cannot change. If you pick up a random coin and you throw it in the air, right? But what will happen in a biased? I'll tell you, give you an example. If you have another coin, if you, right, which has a head and a tail on it, right? Let's suppose bias means we are trying to cheat in this, right? Let's suppose if you want head, okay, I'll write. If you want the coin to land on heads, right? Can you make that possible? Can you make that possible? Like every single time you flip the coin and it will land on heads. We can do that, but that would be called cheating, right? And cheating is called biased. I'll show you how. Put some tape on tails and make tails side heavier, right? So if you want the head as the answer and you make the tails heavier, so what we know is heavier will always land face down. Okay, if heavier is always face down, then what is face up? Then heads will face upwards. Okay, this is what people do. This is what people do while doing a dice as well, while playing with a dice. If they want 6 to be the outcome, the opposite number of 6 is 1. They make 1 heavier. If 1 is heavier, that would always land downwards. That would show the opposite side. Okay. Or if I am your teacher in the class, right? So I favor one student. I do not scold one student. Like if I'm helping one student, I give free marks to one student. That means I am a biased teacher, right? Favoring one. Unbiased mean I'm strict with everyone. One whole standard in the class that you do it correctly, I'll give you the marks. If you do not do your homework, then you have a penalization for that. Everyone judged equally. That is unbiased. Biased means giving a favor. Agreed? Jordan, Do we agree on this? The difference between biased and unbiased? Jordan, do we agree? Can I move ahead with the next question? Okay, thank you. For the next question, it says, just a moment, let me copy this. The question says, Pamela surveyed 47, just a moment. Pamela surveyed 47 patients who spent more than 2 hours at a dentist. Okay, let's suppose this is our question number 4. Spent more than 2 hours at a dentist. Is the sample a representation of, in general, of the time spent? Let this be our question number 4. See, what Pamela is doing, she is surveying 47 patients who spent more than 2 hours, at the dentist. But my question is 47 the total number of patients? Does 47 represent the total number of patients who are spending more than? See, she did a survey, maybe on a particular day, right? Or maybe in a particular week, but some patients were not there who spent more than 2 hours, right? So, in general, this sample, we can say there can be more patients, right? That means this sample, is this sample of the dentist patient directly to be representative? No, it does not represent clearly that patients have to spend more than 2 hours, because she did not, she is only serving 47 patients who spend more than 2 hours, right? So that means there could be 100 patients who spend less than 2 hours, right? Or less than an hour. So that means this is not a representation, this is a biased, because she is selecting a group. Okay, perfect. So she is selecting a group which is already spending more than, thank you, Jordan, which is already spending. So it does not give a representation. Like, that means if you read Pamela's survey, you'll think, oh, I need to go to a dentist, I have to wait for 2 hours. No, that's not the case always, right? Because she is not doing the entire population, all the patients. If she did it with all the patients, survey with all the patients, and then they took the input, then it would be a representation. It would be unbiased. It does not represent the population. So it is unbiased. This is biased, okay? This would be biased because all patients are not included. Let's have a look at the next. For the next question, it says, without looking, Dave took 2 flashcards out of his flashcard box what Dave is doing is, Dave is selecting, he has a box, or we can assume that we have a deck of cards, right? From the deck of cards, we spread the cards and we pick two cards at random, right? When we are using the word random, whenever we see the word random, that means it should be unbiased, because we did not select, we did not choose with a particular, like we did not make our mind on selecting this particular card, right? Similarly, with Dave over here, without looking, Dave was not looking. He took two flashcards out of his box of flashcards. The flashcards may have 100 cards, 50 cards, or 10 cards, right? We don't care. But out of his box of flashcards, that means total flashcards were there. He selected two flashcards randomly. Agreed? So whenever we are doing, is this sample of the flashcards in the box likely to be biased? No, it is, or the selection of two cards is unbiased. No, the selection of two flashcards is unbiased, since he selected randomly. Agreed? So if he is selecting randomly, then it is unbiased. Unbiased means that every card has a equal chance. Unbiased means equal chance to be selected, right? Like if the box had 10 cards in it, then any card could be chosen, right? Or if we have a box that has the card, like a deck of cards, a deck of cards has 52 cards in it, right? If I open up the deck of cards in front of you and you pick up any two cards, then what you are picking, Jordan, can be any two cards, right? But if I do it to Prayan, if I open those 52 cards to Prayan, he can pick any two other cards, right? So it is a random selection, right? Random means it's not biased. Okay. Osman, can you put your question clearly? Unbiased means that every card had equal chance. Dave, let's suppose Dave had, okay, I'll make a box over here. I'll do an example. If this was the box, okay, and we have some cards on it. Let's make some cards, okay? Just give me a minute. I'm just trying to do the example. Okay. If these were the cards, let's suppose. I'm using some colors over here. Or number cards. Let's suppose we had a card which had 1 on it, 2 on it, 3 on it, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? Yes, Osman, it is. Okay, let's do this together. Jordan, you pick up your two numbers. Just random any two numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There are 7 cards over here, right? The numbers that you select could be 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 4 and 7, any two numbers, right? So that is a random selection, right? Because you had a choice of 7 cards. From the 7 cards, you can select any 2 cards. That is your choice, right? I'm not telling you that you have to pick a card that is a multiple of 3. If I put a restriction, okay, if I put a restriction and say select a card that is a multiple of 3, that means you can only select 2 cards over here. You can select 3. I am bounding you over here, right? Or you can select a 6. You cannot select anything. These 2 cards can be selected only, right? So this was biased because I set a restriction for you. But if I say select any 2 cards, so let's suppose I'll write down the name. Okay, so for Jordan, let's suppose he selects the card with, I'm just selecting randomly, right? With 2, and you did a 7, right? Okay, you select this. But let's suppose Usman did 1 and 3, right? If Usman did 1 and 4 or 1 or 3, any numbers in any sequence, right? Then I, as a teacher, could not affect your selections, right? There's nothing affecting your choice. That means this is unbiased because you chose randomly from the given cards, right? I am not bounding you. In the first option, I did bound you that it has to be a multiple of 3. You cannot select any other cards than 3 and 6, right? I gave you a restriction. But if I tell you just select, pick any 2 cards, it could be any combination 1 and 5, 6 and 3, 6 and 2, 4 and 7, any combination. That means unbiased, right? So the same question for question number 5 was without looking. That means Dave is not choosing. There are some flashcards in the box. He puts his hand in the box and just take out 2 random cards. So any card could have been selected, right? So when any card can be selected, everything can have an equal chance of being selected, right? That means it's an unbiased. Do we agree here? Priyan, Jordan, and Usman, do we agree? The difference between biased and unbiased? Do I need to give more examples? Let's go with the questions. With the next questions, I'll give you more examples, okay? Okay. It's a very similar question to the names of the cats. Okay. For question number 6, what they are saying is, just a moment, please. Let me realign this. Question number 6. Okay. Candice puts the names of all the students in a hat. Then she drew 97 names out of the hat. Okay. Is this sample of the students random or it's biased? This is question number 6. Okay. This question, I'll put it in my own words. A shopping center is giving away gifts, right? Every person who did did shopping there, they filled a raffle ticket, right? There are 97 gifts to be given away. Okay, will the gifts be given randomly or biased? If raffles are to be selected, right? We are looking at the shopping center first, right? Maybe thousands of people go into a mall, right? And they buy a lot of things. There's a box there, they put it in the raffle. At the end of the day or at any particular time, what they do is they pick out 97 raffles out, right? They have similar gifts, right? Let's suppose they have gift hampers. They have 97 gift hampers. What they want to do is give it to 97 people, right? So what they do is they take out the first, call in the name, give it to the person. They are not choosing the name by reading the name, right? They are doing it randomly, right? Like bingo. Random numbers would appear there, right? So they're random, right? One person won one gift on the first position, or maybe they win another on, maybe they bought a lot of things, they put in a lot of raffles, right? They have more chance of winning. They can win two gifts, they can win three gifts, right? So it is a random sample, right, which is unbiased. Random sample means unbiased, where every person has an equal chance to win, right? Whoever put in the raffles, right? Let's go to question number 6. Candice put the names of all the students in the school, right? She writes down the name of all the students. We are taking the complete sample space because all the students into a hat. Then she drews 97 names out of the hat. Is this a random sample? From all the students in the school, right? All the participants, every person who did shopping, right? So what will we say in question number 6? Yes, it is a random sample. Agreed? Because she is just picking the names randomly. She is not saying like it has to be in alphabetical order or by the age or the grade level. She's just picking out random 97 names. Agreed? So this would always be a random sample. Okay. For the question number 7, it says, just a moment, please. The question number 7 says, Abraham surveyed 22 healthiest patients in a hospital. Okay, the difference is the word healthiest over here. If you're going to a hospital and you're speaking to the healthy people, then you don't know about the problems of the people who are sick, right? Let's see if this was our question number 7. Abraham surveyed the 22 healthiest patients in the hospital. Is the sample of the patient in the hospital likely to be representative? Representative means unbiased. Would this data represent the entire hospital? No, it would not, right? This is biased data because the healthiest patients in the hospital might be allowed to walk, might be allowed to eat a bit of sweets and a bit of junk food, right? But not all the patients in the hospital would be given the same privilege, right? This is a biased data, and and it does not represent the total number of patients admitted. Agreed? Do we agree? Do we agree on this question? Question number 7. Okay, let's try some questions from the test, right? Let's do the test together so that we would have a better idea of the understanding. Let me go to the topic, grade 8, chapter number 25, lesson number 9, the test. Okay, let's do a few questions from the test so that we would be able to know whether we understood or not. If there is any problem, I'll re-explain. Okay. So the question number 1 says, I'm just waiting for it to load. Hugo looked at 10 vegetables. He's just looking, okay. The question says, is the sample likely to be biased? They're talking about bias. Is this biased? Yes or no? Okay, just a minute. This is our question number 1 from the test. Hugo looked at 10 vegetables throughout each grocery store in the city. Each supermarket has a vegetable section of the same size. They're talking about same size sample space, same number of vegetables, right? Is this sample for the vegetables for sale in the city likely to be biased? Is it likely to be biased? Same size and same number of vegetables. Remember that. See, some supermarkets can have 10 aisles, some can have 20 aisles, but he is only going to the supermarkets which have equal number of aisles, and he is not looking at 5 vegetables in one supermarket, 8 in one and 10 in one. He is looking at the same quantity of the vegetables as well. No, look at this. The question is using the word biased. Is likely to be biased. Biased means favoring one, right? But it is not favoring one, right? He's not trying to favor one supermarket. If they would have said, is this sample unbiased? We would say yes. This is unbiased. Agreed? So for biased, we say, no, this is not a biased. If this would have been unbiased, we would say yes. It's an unbiased. It is not favoring one specific supermarket. It's not favoring one specific vegetable, right? He went to different supermarkets having the same number of aisles, right? Same number of vegetable section, and looking at comparing only 10 vegetables. He is not doing 9 vegetables, 2 vegetables in another supermarket. He is doing similar quantities of comparison in all the supermarkets. So he is not favoring anyone, right? So that means, is it likely to be biased? No, this is unbiased. Agreed? This is unbiased. Do we agree on this? Okay, please do try some more questions, okay? And go through this lesson again if you need any help. Best of luck. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.